So I've had the idea of creating a website where users can write and share stories uh, ever since about 2017. I even made a Discord for the website before I even started on the website. And that server is still there, except it acts as more of a general chat room for my friends and I. But I never really did anything with the concepts because it's just like in my head, the site would be like so polished and advanced. I really had no idea where to start until yesterday, where I was just like, you know what? I think I'm going to spend today making the website. And so I stripped away almost every single concept I had for the website down to the very bare roots, and that's writing a story and like making it so other people can read it. And so that is what this is. It's called Tales Central, and you can see that you can enter a title for your story, the story itself, and you can put your name here if you want, or if you don't put anything, it'll just show up as anonymous. Um, and then you can see down here, these are some of the tests that I've done. This one was here as a database test just to see if I could even read from the database. Once I had writing set up, I believe this one was written by my dad, and this was testing SQL injection. And first off, I totally messed it up because that's actually PHP, but I did in fact sanitize the inputs. So SQL injection is indeed impossible, and this website is secure. And this was really just making it so I could actually scroll down the screen a reasonable amount, because this title up here originally used to be just at the top of the page, and then as you scroll down it would disappear. But I changed it so now it'll always stick to the top of the screen, and if you click it, it takes you back to the top, or just takes you back to the home screen, basically. So let's write a story. We'll call this demo, and the story is, once upon a time I performed a demo. And sure, why not? I'm Chase. And I just hit publish, and it says your story has been published. Click the top of the page to return home. Once I do that, you can see my story has now been published. And I am not sure what date thing I'm using, but it is very clearly incorrect, because that says is the 8th of November. That says it's the 8th of October, but I happen to know that it is the 7th of October. So that's just some weird time zone stuff. That's like 6 or 7 hours off. And so that's I can actually show you the database that has all of the stories. Let me refresh. So you can see this is the one we just added, and so you've actually got the story ID right here, and that's what actually is used to sort them. That's what's used to sort the stories, and then also that's what's used to access individual stories later on. And so there are dislikes and likes, but I never implemented them, and so you can see that's why the Hello World one, which I actually manually put into the database, that's the only one with likes and dislikes, and that's because I manually put those in as tests. And then you can see the author is here, the actual story contents is here, the title is here, and one interesting thing is that you might see most of these posts are actually unlisted, and that's because a lot of these posts, basically, they're just spam. They're literally nothing. And that's when I was setting up the thing to actually like publish stories, and that required a lot of trial and error, and it didn't always work right. So let's see, I just published story ID 14. So one cool thing is up here, if I do question mark story ID is equal to 14, that just adds a I don't know what the term is, but it adds something to the URL basically, which I can then get within the PHP code, and it figures out the story ID, gets it from the database, and then only displays that particular story. So it's a simple little thing, but it also makes it easy to refer to a specific story. So if there's like 1,000 stories and you want to refer to a specific one, you can do that. Later on, I'd like to make each tile clickable. This is not working. That's why. Okay. Later on, I'd like to make each tile clickable, so you can click on the tile and then it takes you to the page with just that thing on it. Actually, ideally, I could just make it so it would be like tail central slash story slash 14, but unfortunately, I am not quite on that level yet, and I am new to all this web development stuff. So I've showed you the website itself, and also this header goes to my Twitter. Please follow me. I've showed you the database, of which there are many unlisted things, and you can see here all the story IDs are right here of these unlisted posts. So theoretically, if this site is up when you're watching this, you can go see what those unlisted posts have to see. And now how about I show you the code? So first off, let me preface this by saying it's ugly. I literally had never used JavaScript in a project or PHP in a project before making the site, and so as a result, everything looks very subpar and ugly. This is the only function in the entire thing, which is kind of sad because normally I use a lot of functions. So this is the display story thing that'll actually display each one of these items. And you can see here, CSS is just as much of a mess. And I put all the colors at the top so I can change them easily. And I use 2 font faces. Work Sans Black Italic is just, it is the king of fonts. And I love it. I use it for Tail Central. I use it for Chipio Industries. If YouTube will load, yeah, I can see that's Work Sans Black, or is it bold? Extra bold, something like that. And yeah, I overuse it for sure, but I love it so much. And then there's Carla Regular, which I downloaded specifically for this project because I wanted something that wasn't like that weird other font with all of the serifs, weird looking serifs. And so I went with this. It's not ideal, I guess, but I mean, I think it looks all right. It looks all right for now. I'm not sure if I have anything else to talk about. So, as you can see, I am indeed sanitizing my inputs using just that one function, which is how you block that thing out. So basically, you can see here, I'm getting the published cookie, and is cookie the right term? I think it is. I'm getting the published cookie, and if it has been set, that means I'm trying to publish a story, and so all of this stuff runs, and it tries to publish a story, or if it's not publishing, but if there's a story ID if there's a story ID in the title, then what it'll do is, as you can see here, it'll display just that story. Otherwise, it'll just display all of the stories at once. And there's my Twitter handle. So, this has been an extremely fun exercise for me, and I feel like I've learned a whole lot about websites in general and how everything kind of works together. There are still some things I want to figure out, like how to properly have parts of my code that are in different programming languages interact, and I'm wondering if I can create like remotes or something similar to that. And I also definitely want to learn way more about web security before I go as far as to make this website accessible from the internet, because this is actually hosted through WAMP server on my computer, and I am not entirely comfortable with just opening it up to the internet right now. But that is all further down the line. I am extremely pleased that I was able to get a super bare bones version of my site done to the point where I can see myself putting this site up. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's too bare bones for my liking, and I definitely in a version 2 would have more complete pages for every story and more information for every story, and user accounts instead of just hoping that people won't copy each other's names. But other than that, this has been a fun project, and I thought I'd document it. Good night.